weird shit on my desk right now.
Can you do the intro like really like serious, like it's a news report, but like not even like a parody one? Like, hello everyone, welcome to the Poddy C. Today we'll cover the Premier Relegation Tournament, Remkoe's retirement, sounding the drama alarm, Sanus' longest game of Rocket League ever, and how we're coping/not coping with the pandemic.
I'm here with my co-host, Cool93.
Hi.
Go on then.
Cool.
Nah, fuck it. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? What, Cole? Why are you already annoyed?
I'm not already annoyed.
You're already annoyed.
I had a nice idea between friends.
My name is Stumpy.
My name is fucking Cole.
Your name is fucking Cole. And this is the Subpar Poddy C, officially,
unofficially,
the best podcast on the internet. Now, Cole.
Yeah, mate. What are we covering today?
Well, the first point I was going to make was all about the what people can do with the sponsor for this episode is us.
Us.
It's us. Yeah, it's us, really. So that's cool. Make sure that you go to, and I've changed this so it doesn't matter if you do http:// or if you do https://
You're
or if
a
you
wizard.
don't have either. Because I think I fucked up a forwarding thing before. So
You're amazing.
if you would like to sport some of officially,
Unofficially,
the best, you were not prepared for that, unofficially, best merch on the internet or whatever, then go to shop.subpar.gg. It will do a big old redirect, that's courtesy of your boy, to Gamers Apparel, and use code PODDYC, PODDYC, on the item page for 10% off. Otherwise, Cole, what are we chatting about on this episode of the Poddy C?
I want to have like a sip of my nice tea that I've got, which is quite honey smelling, but I'm worried that as soon as I do, you'll chuck an officially my way.
Okay, tell you what.
Yeah.
I'll read this bit, and you know that I've not written any unofficiallys in, and I never go off script, so I think we'll be okay.
So I'm okay to have a sip. Just confirm.
Yes, you are, mate. Yeah. So today we're going to be covering the Premier Relegation Tournament, Remkoe's retirement, and we are officially sounding the you actually dribbled. Sounding the drama alarmer.
Awooga!
Thank you. Sunless's longest game of Rocket League ever, and how we are coping/not coping with the pandemic. Because, Cole, you made a good point before we start recording this, that everyone is, understandably, posting their best bits from isolation. They're saying, I've just started learning the guitar. I've learned this. Or, look, I've got all these plants. They're looking great.
Reunited with my dad over Zoom.
Exactly. And people are maybe thinking, I'm sort of suffering inside at the moment. But everyone else is doing fine. That's a little bit, I'm not doing very well. We're going to be covering this at the end of the episode, where we basically say how we have been struggling as well, because we have been struggling.
Yeah, we are just as shit as everybody else, but we'll get to that later. The first thing that we want to cover, though, is something that we brought up in the last podcast, and that is the fact that this big old bad boy, in full, is no longer going to be on the Subpar in HD YouTube. That's because, as we mentioned last episode, basically YouTube's algorithm is a piece of shit, and it takes everything from percentage watched. So while people are watching on average 25 minutes, which is great, that means that is only sort of like 17% of the video. So YouTube's algorithm is like, oh, people only watch 17% of their videos, they're a bit crap.
Bastard.
So we're going to put full episodes on a different YouTube channel, and there was a suggestion in the comments, I believe from Oh My Hessness, saying that the channel should be called Subpar, but MP3.
That's very good.
I am all for that. Are we in agreement?
I'm kind of massively against it.
Okay.
Because we actually upload in WAV files.
How about then, same theme, slightly different wording, Subpar, but Poddy C? Because you said Subpar Poddy C, but if you put the but in there, then it rhymes with in HD.
Tell you what, best of both worlds, Subpar, but WAV file.
It would be quite funny if we actually
people would
changed
fucking
it to
hate
that.
us. People would really hate us. Subpar, but the full episode as a WAV file.
What about Subpar, but WAV?
Not against it. I like how accurate
A lot of things
it is.
rhyme with E. Do you know what I mean?
we
We've got a lot to
spell
play
out
with there.
WAV. So people can't just read it as WAV. It's DUBLE YEW AYVEE. Yes.
I'm down for that. Sold to the man at the back with the hair. What's up with your hair today? You were moaning at it before we started recording.
I've got a fan behind me, which you can't hear. Well, I've kind of actually meant it says blowing directly on it because Cole has done some really good noise reduction. But
thank you.
my office gets really hot, and it's like blowing my hair out of my headphones. So like it's not like pinned in; it's just like freaking flopping in my face. It's annoying me.
You had like one big old strand of hair that was coming from your hairline, and it was
big.
it was mocking me personally. That one strand of hair was going, "Hey Cole, this is what you could have had if you had decent genes."
It literally went from my hairline past my nose, which is impressive.
It is impressive.
So, people are thinking this might make it into the full, the highlighted episode on the main channel, because we will also be uploading 15 to 20 minute ish. Let's say a shit episode and we get like 12 minutes worth, and it'll just be 12 minutes. Deal with it. Highlight chunks, and they'll be going onto our main channel, so people can still hear what we've spoken about. It can be for shorter journeys. It can just be like pop it on while you're doing the dishes. You don't have to commit to an hour and a half episode. And there's a market for that. I would probably personally be the market for that as well. And people have asked for it, so we will give you exactly that. So well done, the internet. You got your fucking way. Bet you feel happy.
It's funny that you would be the market for the short-term video, because I'm more of a short-term watcher. I prefer the 3 or 4 minute, super highly edited, sunless special videos to the 15, 16, 17 minute, more extended gameplay raw videos, whereas you swap there. However, when it comes to podcasts, I have listened to our podcast back. Like, after I put all the effort in to record them and then edit them, and I like to listen to them back when I'm at the gym or whatever, or when I'm coming home, or just at some point, just to be like, oh yeah, I made this. It's pretty cool. So I am the opposite.
Crazy.
I listen to the whole thing. It's pretty good.
I mean, I have I have literally never listened to.
So you don't take
podcast
notes
because I'm in it.
Yeah, no, sure, but it's good to listen back to yourself and think, oh, I wish I'd matched the tone there.
But I never
or
do.
I should have carried on a bit there.
I never need to change.
Not a learner, are
That's
you,
the
mate?
beauty. No, but the thing is, I don't need to learn. That's the beautiful thing, is that I'm done. A lot of people need to learn, don't get me wrong, but I'm the finished fucking product. At 25 years old, I'm finished.
Did you watch our TV show back when it was on Twitch?
Yes, I did actually, yeah, to be fair.
Okay. Every day?
Why are you smirking? Yeah.
No, I'm not, I'm
Every
just
day.
curious.
Every day it was on
Okay.
Twitch, I made sure to watch it. Because,
Me too.
not because I wanted to take notes, I'm not a fucking virgin, but because I wanted to see how funny I was, because I said the perfect thing at the perfect moment.
I'm the opposite there. When I watch back, I think, I wish I'd said that 5 seconds later. That's why I like editing the podcast so much, because I can literally pick up what I said, move it 5 seconds later, and then lean back, with my head in my hands, lean back and be like,
Your current pose looks a little bit blowjobby. Cole's got his hands behind his head, and he looked like backwards with his eyes closed and then
Mate, that's what it is. It's a virtual blowjob, hearing myself make a joke 5 seconds later than I actually did at the time. When I rushed it out, I go, punchline.
God. Well, people can comment or whatever. It's annoying that there's not comments on stop getting blowjobs. There's
I'm sipping my tea.
There's it's going to be a shame that we can't see the full can't see comments and stuff for the full podcast. But if you guys like this, Spotify doesn't have a rating option, which I think is weird. But you can't rate stuff. But iTunes does. And if you guys rate stuff on iTunes well, then it's really helpful. And there's one absolute mad lad out there. I always look at the statistics for the Poddy C, just to see where people listen to, like Spotify, iTunes, Podbay, Google Podcasts, whatever. There's always 3 people that just says Apple Watch. Who's listening on their Apple Watch? If that's you, I am so impressed that you do that every week. It's a consistent 2 or 3 people, Apple Watch it up. It's great.
Well, we could keep track of those numbers, actually, each week in the podcast, where we do a little jingle, and you then report how many people have watched on that device, and we could call the segment Apple Watch.
Okay. Oh, clever. I like that. Yeah, no, that's actually quite good. Fair play. I like that. It's I'm having a look now. Yeah, nice, good. Yeah, I don't like it anymore. You needed a weird wiggle.
Little finger.
So actually, our last episode, the episode 38, with the Tiger King talk, over double the amount of people watched it on a watch compared to a smart TV.
Cool.
12 people listened on a watch. 12 people are on their watch just having a listen.
You've said that as if it's going to surprise me, but I don't know if that does surprise me or not. If you'd asked me, if I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and the final question, I've 50-50'd it down to either more people watching episode 38 of the Subpar Odyssey on an Apple Watch or a smart TV, I don't know what I would have gone for. But you've built that up like it's going to be a really surprising thing that more people have watched it on a watch than a... Are you surprised at that?
Yeah, I thought there'd be more for smart TV. Because...
Why's that?
I watch almost all of my YouTube stuff on a smart TV. Like, I use the TV app and everything. I don't cast... I sometimes cast it, but, like, it's almost always on the YouTube app. And then I link my phone to it. It just gets a little bit smoother. I just find it odd. Do people not use their smart TV for, like, YouTube?
I use my smart TV for TV and Netflix/Amazon, and I do cast Twitch streams now because you very kindly gave me your old Chromecast, which is lovely. So I've used that a few times. Not every time. Like sometimes I fancy sort of watching it on my PC and being at my desk and that. But sometimes, yeah, it's nice to sit on the sofa, nice to be around Linnea and stuff like that. I do occasionally ping stuff from my phone to the TV with YouTube and stuff like that. Yesterday, Linnea and I watched highlights of Donald Trump's super weird press conference. God. Have you seen it? Where he's saying, like,
he's standing in front of the screen.
Authority. Yeah. And like, what I love as well, you know how you had to go at me when I did the little wiggle when you said I did well?
Yeah.
Donald Trump does something similar. When he's showing his propaganda video, he sort of turns and it's sort of like showing a timeline moving from right to left. He does a little point from right to left, like, yeah, this is what it is. Like just sort of gesturing a little bit to the video. It's abstract. The whole thing is abstract.
It's so odd because the reporter afterwards just goes, I have never seen a video like that played in one of these conferences. What? And he's just like, the thing is, I then read a thing this morning where people said the thing that he showed literally proved their point because it just shows that there has like the timeline of things like January 3rd, January 8th, whatever, and it goes through. And the question was, in February, why did you do nothing? Like, why was that like the blank month where you did nothing, where it was all like everything was getting bad? And then the timeline goes like February 3rd, March 2nd. It's like, well, no, hang on. You just proved our point that you did nothing. And he's like, yeah, no, but look at it. I did things in the time. It's like, what the fuck are you
He sounds a
about?
lot like Bernie, your Trump.
Oh, God, I love socialism or I hate it. It was very odd. But let's not get too political.
Yeah, this is funny, man.
Yeah, because people don't like politics at the moment. Hashtag vote for Bernie, even though you probably can't. He's not going to win anyway, which is a bit of a shame.
No, but actually, final thing, Bernie has officially endorsed Biden, and they are to an extent teaming up, which is
as
good.
Has Obama.
Yeah,
obviously, because it was his like vice pres.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, right. Last comment on it, and I think it's one they both agree on. It's gonna. We're at the 40-minute mark. Right, last comment, and we both agree on it.
I promise that after you've said this, I'll do one more, and then we move on.
Oh, you know,
no, go on. Yeah, I know, exactly. Go on, you go. This is the last one, 100%.
As far as I know, we both agree on this, that even if you don't like Biden, and you're thinking, you know what, I can't bring myself to vote for Biden, and you don't vote, that is infinitely worse than just voting for Biden in the first place, because then you're giving it to Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Which is dumb. Unless you want Trump to win, in which case you're rich.
Exactly. Oh,
in which case, patreon.com/subparbitnhd.
Very good. And what do we say to our patrons? Go.
Fuck them all,
Fuck
man.
you.
I'm sick of them. Entitled little scumbags, man. Christ.
Disgusting. Right. Promo relegation tournament has happened this last weekend in the RLCS, and there's been a couple of storylines to come out of it. We're going to be covering 3 main storylines. The first one being Endpoint staying up in the RLCS, brackets alongside Solary, who then came up from the RLRS. Second one will be talking about Remkoe's retirement, and the third one is about Karma unfortunately losing and Charlotte Phoenix staying in the RLRS. So Cole, do you want to kick us off with Endpoint staying in the RLCS?
Yeah, well, the first series, they got absolutely smashed by the team that everyone's calling Solary. I'm sure it should be Solari, but I'm going to just trust everyone and go with Solary. So Endpoint got smashed by them. They were not at the races. It's the worst I've ever seen Endpoint perform. It was 4-0, and it was like, it was a genuine 4-0. You don't look back at it and think, oh, any of those games could have gone either way, though. None of them could have gone either way. Solary were just better in so many ways. And I know that we were both pretty worried about how Endpoint's mindset was going to be going into their next, hopefully, 2 series. And Virtuoso posted a tweet saying, well, actually, I'm jumping ahead. So, long story short, Endpoint ended up then beating Karen, which is ex-TSM, and Stonkers, which is ex-Espanyol.
Which is another thing that we need to cover, to be fair, because TSM have dropped their roster, as have Espanyol, and the two worst team names ever to come into any tournament in Rocket League, Karen and Stonkers. Which I respect.
Actually, a lot, the fact that they both had such shitty team names. But yeah, Virtuoso tweeted after finally surviving, saying, I really want to thank LOR Eclipse for the motivational talk he gave me after the Solari series to play how I used to in RLRS, and I didn't even know words can be so powerful. Go give my coach a follow, he fucking deserves it. Yes, Eclipse.
We love Eclipse.
Oh boy. He mentioned us as well, didn't he, on the broadcast?
He did. Eclipse is he's absolutely fantastic. So me and Cole did a thing, we knew Eclipse from just general onlineness, and we met him a couple of times at LANs and whatever. And I stayed with him in Leipzig because he's one of the most selfless people I've ever known. Because I was I decided I was going to Leipzig quite late because it was around my birthday and around my anniversary and around Valentine's Day. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to Leipzig. And Chaz is like, well, can we? And I'm like, no, I'm going to Germany. So I was saying a little bit late in Discord, okay, I need to try and find somewhere to stay. Eclipse DM'd me, just hey, I've got a space in my Airbnb if you want to stay with me, and we can just sort of split it. I'll pay the nominal fees. I was like, what? Holy shit, yeah, I'll get in on that. And we ended up splitting it half and half in the end. Just very kind, just for him to offer. And then me and Cole did some repping stuff for JD Sports right 6 to 8 months ago, something like that. And I drove to Wales. I drove to Cardiff which is about a 3.5 hour drive. And I had to do that and back in one day, as well as rep in a shop in Wales. And I put it out on Twitter, and then Eclipse was just hey, I'll come along just to show you Cardiff, because I was watching Doctor Who at the time, and obviously there's loads of cool stuff around there. And he's a Welsh boy. And we had just a really lovely day out. We went and saw the big brass building. We went to where the TARDIS was in the middle of that square, when all the lightning comes down. We saw the castle. We went and got burgers. It was just lovely. And Eclipse has been part of our community. He's gifted us a few games to play on stream. He's just so selfless, and he's gifted subs. He's incredible. I recommend that every single person here gets themselves acquainted with @LOR Eclipse. He's adorable and he's fantastic. And what Vert said in his original tweet was something that I noticed in the first series as well, where he lost his confidence in league play, where the demo ball chase style wasn't working, and teams were catching on to that, and it just wasn't being as effective. However, I said, I think in week 1, after we saw their first couple of plays, that's what they were doing, and that's what they need to do to stay up and for them to win, just like Peep/Pittsburgh Knights used to. / kind of still do. And I'm very, very, very happy that the second series that they played against Karen was just the ball chasiest, the demoiest, the bumpiest mess of a game, but it was a mess in the hands of Endpoint, and it was so good.
Yeah, it sort of seemed throughout the season, Endpoint became more and more, bought more and more into the RLCS style, as opposed to embracing their sort of ragged RLRS style. They were really trying to play the game the way that Dignitas play, or the way that Vitality play, that pure rotational form of Rocket League that works so well in theory and is beautiful to look from the top down, but is less scrappy and is less violent, is less aggressive. And it seems that Eclipse's pep talk with Virtuoso brought them back to their gritty old days, where they were raised on the streets of the RLRS, and they had to play with bare feet, and they didn't have a proper ball, so they used sticks. Do you know what I mean? They learn it on the street, and they sort of they bought back into that for the rest of their games against Karen and Stonkers. Lol. So yeah, the reason I bring up that tweet is because it's just another example of the importance of coaches in Rocket League in general at the most important of times. I mean, I spoke to Eclipse when I was streaming, and he said that Virtuoso, after that first series, he was personally just gone. He was absolutely out of it. And then suddenly, he bounces back thanks to a well-timed pep talk with a person who knows him and who has that sort of sight of a coach to think, right, what does this player need to hear right now? That's what it was. Endpoint end up staying up. And I'm going to be
So
honest.
good.
So yeah, you said after the first couple of series, when you were sort of buying into the Endpoint hype, or making the Endpoint hype actually, you were leading the charge, that they were this super aggressive demo-y team. And each time I watched them play after that, I looked for it and I never saw it. But that must be why. Because
faded,
they were starting to become enculturalized.
I mean, it's one reason why RLRS teams normally, to be honest, have the upper hand on RLCS teams, because it's obviously the case of the RLRS teams, they're going to watch the RLCS. Like, they're going to be, they are on the grind still, whereas some RLCS teams, they have essentially made it, and they don't need to be looking at the lower levels to sort of worry themselves with it.
Odds are you won't get relegated.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when you then look at the European Invitational, RLCS teams often falter to the RLRS teams. First, because of preparation that the RLRS teams go to, and also because they play a different style. They aren't as perfect. There are whiffs. We say it when we stream, that there's Champ 3 fakes, and we can be beaten by that often, because you just don't expect it, however they are. And it does get to me when you see teams like Endpoint lose their way and try to fit the mold of the RLCS, when actually, if you stay with the way that you've been playing, you will do better. And that's been proven that they will do better when they play how they should, or how they want to play rather than how they should, I suppose. But there was also, just quickly, about E United and Gregan, because there was a little mini, like 1 minute comms video released of E United playing their pro relegation tournament, and you hear in there a cheeky little Gregan voice just being like, "Come on, well done, woo, let's go!"
I'm up.
What's up?
That's two. Karma's up.
It's fine. We got this still.
We got this, guys. Let's go.
Let's go.
Nice and focused and calm. We got this.
Let's go, baby!
go!
Let's go!
baby!
Let's go! How many? So, bro, I put like ass. Holy. Oh my god, bro.
Sounds so British amongst all these American voices.
It does. But yeah, no, it was great. So yeah, Gregan is like doing some coaching, I guess, for them, which is very cool. And they are, the United stayed up in the end versus Charlotte Phoenix in a Game 7 overtime.
Yes.
So United make it, and it looks like they've got Gregan behind them. Is he still a neutral coach? You'll have to keep an eye on his Twitter to find out.
Still on Gamers Ready, though. We know that much. I've got some coaching with Gregan. If anyone's considering getting coaching, by the way, I just 1,000,000% recommend it. Like, I'm not saying that I had a session with Gregan and then suddenly I was the best player in the world. That's not the point. The point is that now the Rocket League is just more fun now. It's also more frustrating because I see things that, you know, if I'm solo queuing, I'm seeing all those things, thinking, oh no, don't do that. I know specifically you shouldn't do that. And it has sort of, it has awoken that sort of analyst dickhead in me of thinking, oh, they're doing it wrong, grr. But equally, I know that I am playing better than I ever have before from 1 hour of Gregan, and everyone on Gamers Ready, which is still a website that we love very much, everyone that's a coach on there has earned their way onto being there. You're going to get no crap on there. So if
Eclipse
you
is on there.
Exactly, Eclipse is on there. So if you're looking at someone and you're thinking, do I go for it? Even if you don't want to be a pro, even if you don't want to stream, you just want to have more fun in Rocket League, I highly recommend it. And that obviously bubbles up to top players as well, because what they learn is an extra 0.1% of their game. What I learn is an extra 10% on my game. But for them, it's all about sort of eking out every
all the little
inch
improvements.
of goodness. Yeah, because we never know. Would E United have beaten Charlotte Phoenix if Gregan's voice wasn't in there calming him down?
The comms were, like, E United were up until the, like, I think it was about 10 seconds left or something, and Charlotte Phoenix scored, and it was like, oh boy, whoever wins this goes through, and you hear them just be like, oh my god, like, shit, just shit, and they're like, hey guys, no, look, you can do it, like, this is all you need to do is do the, we're talking strats, like, but it was good, and United, they stay up, as do Rogue, and then on EU, it ends up being Endpoint stay up, and Solari go up, and TSM, they end up going down. But wait, they're not TSM anymore. They are called Karen, and Remkoe has a retirement that's like 98% locked in at this point, because there's always rumours that no matter, basically, they weren't doing well. Remkoe wanted to retire last season, but they couldn't drop 2 players, that kind of thing. They was locked in. We have literally no idea. But he carried on playing, and they ended up being dropped from the RLCS, and he tweeted afterwards saying, "Thanks for the memories, love heart." This must just basically be the final nail in the coffin. No org, dropping to the RLRS. Is this the final straw? And how are you feeling about it? Because Remkoe's like OG is OG, and he's still young. But is it now time for him to just leave competitive behind?
I mean, I'm not going to speak for him and say, yes, it's time for him to leave competitive behind. If he's still enjoying it, knock yourself out. You've still got a place in the rival series. You can have a couple more seasons. You might even get promoted. Do you know what I mean? This might be the spark that he needs to continue a career. But the impression that I've always got on Twitter and the way they play, the sort of the car body language, as it were, which is a phrase I picked up from an article a few days ago, never seemed positive to me. I see this more for Remkoe as not the final nail in his coffin, but a weight off his shoulders. I've been thinking for the entire second half of the season, this, based on what he's tweeting, this cannot be good for him to still be playing for an org such as TSM with so much pressure. To me, it didn't seem to be doing him any good. But again, I am, to an extent, I'm projecting. I'm not inside his head. I don't know if that's the case, but I just hope that is how he's feeling, that he wakes up the day after relegation and just thinks, oh, finally, I'm free.
Yeah.
I can do something else with my life. I can spend time doing X, Y, Z that I've wanted to do.
Even if he wants to go into coaching or something.
Exactly. If he wants to stay in Rocket League, then great for him,
I think it's one of those moments where, like you said about his Twitter, where he said before that I don't know the exact wording, but he said that he feels he was having mental health issues and he was having lots of problems, and that seemed to be the general consensus in the replies was, look after yourself.
Exactly.
Just, you're number one, you focus on number one. That's all you need to do. Get yourself into a good mindset before really diving into another thing. And maybe that's hard because a lot of people wouldn't be able to just say, yeah, I've had my 5 years of competitive, I'm just going to step away now.
Especially as a former world champion. It's hard. It's really hard. I can't imagine that situation. And whatever he decides to do, if he decides to keep playing, I will support him. And if he decides to then step away from Rocket League entirely, absolutely fantastic. Still support him. All that kind of stuff. He was a massive, massive influence on so many people. Where the replies from pros were like Tadpole was saying, "I saw you lift the trophy in season 3, and that inspired me." And things like that, where you just think, shit, he has been seen by millions and millions and has changed lives. And there's lots and lots of love at Subpart Industries towards Remkoe for everything that he's done for Rocket League as well. Yeah, the question now is what he does next. And the same question can be applied as well to Magnus and Metsonoris. Magnus tweeted, "Third time this has happened to me and the team I've been on, and it still feels as bad as the first time. Starting to believe I'm not RLCS worthy." Meanwhile, Metsonoris has tweeted, "It hurts so much."
I love Metsa.
I love Metsa as well.
But
they have been relegated very many times. This is competition, mate. I
know.
Do you know what I mean?
Sad.
I am letting you be sad. I'm just saying that it's the best thing they can do is, presuming Remkoe does retire, is stick together and give it a jolly good go in the rival series.
Yeah,
because,
basically.
hey, the good thing about the way everything is set up is that Magnus does have a chance to prove that he's RLCS worthy. He can look to an Ignite, who, while having a terrible season, got promoted. Do you know what I mean? That is such an achievement. And I'm hoping that for an Ignite listening to this, he doesn't think, oh, I'm crap, I lost. No, you got promoted. You won the league
you have
last season,
really as well, like the best chance to make it into the RLCS this season as well, because you've got an auto-promote spot, which is...
Exactly.
It's the first season where that's happened, and it just so happens as well for Ignite that the bottom spot got an auto-relegation. So it sort of worked out of his favour for really both, where he had to play to get in, even though they finished near the top, and he also just got auto-relegated. But it's basically the opposite way round for Magnus and Mets. And I've seen some people say, they should get a lot and go for another run with the old method complexity. To me, that seems like a reunion tour that about a tenth of the amount of people would enjoy. Leave those memories in the past. Get a different third. If they want to go with a lot, fucking holy shit, do
exactly.
it. That'd be fun. But I'd like something different. Really push for it. You may as well. Because out of that team, the three of them, I think it's fair to say, and it's not an insult to say that it was Remkoe who was the weakest out of them. Because I think a lot of people saw some things that he was doing. They were questionable. He's not the only reason why they lost, but I think he contributed the most towards it. I think that with Metzer and Magnus, they have still got those moments of incredible individual play, and maybe the thing that's letting them down is the mental aspect, the psychological side, where you've got almost a barrier that, holy shit, it's happened to me 3 times, and Metzer's thinking, oh my god, I thought this would be the season. I'm with Magnus. We did so well before. Why didn't we do well this time? What happened? And maybe it's time to get somebody in to really do a good job with them and hope that it's a case that they don't, I don't know, just work through it. Because right now their coach is Snasky. And I don't mean to say that Snasky's got a fucking horrendous record, but Jesus Christ, Snasky, what are you doing, man?
It's I don't know what he is doing. Who's he coached? It's been Dignitas,
where they had their worst season
Turbo,
ever.
Eventually left. Then he had Complexity.
Where they got
0-7.
relegated. Yeah.
And now he's had TSM.
Then he went to TSM, yeah.
But equally, I don't know, it's this conversation of, I think because I come from a sporting background rather than an esports background, the sort of, to use a horrible marketing term, the churn of players doesn't upset me as much as maybe it does some people who began in esports, where you're used to being able to see, like from the CSGO world, you've had Forrest, who's been around for 10 years, and I believe he's playing for Dignitas now, and they've got their sort of old boys
together. Same with
together.
GetRight, who retired and then came back.
It happens more in esports. In real football, players don't retire and come back. It's also natural that their careers come to an end and they go down a division, and eventually you stop hearing from them, and maybe for the love of the game they're still playing for Hartlepool reserves because they just love football so much, and good for them if so. So I don't really have the... I feel for the players as individuals, but as a fan of competition, I see it as an important and natural step. Magnus and Metzonoris have slowed down, and now somebody will come up who has sped up. But saying that doesn't mean that in my world, Metzonoris and Magnus, do the right thing and give up and just get relegated again from the rival series. No, it's on them, if they want to really sort of go to town, find the right third for them. And you mentioned a lot. Maybe it is a lot. Maybe they're getting into some scrims, and actually, holy shit, we've still got so much talent together, we've still got all this synergy, let's give it a go. Equally, if it's between a lot who they know and used to know in the good old days, or some player called Bob27 that I've never heard of, and they're better with Bob27, get on Bob27, because he could be the next alpha. So I think that, to me, they have as fair a chance as any. But I'm not sort of rooting for them because they're old school. Does that make sense? I don't want to be harsh, but that's just how I naturally see it, I guess.
I think ultimately, I'm coming at this from a very personal perspective. I really, 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 really like Metzonoris. He is absolutely incredible. I love the boy.
He's a sweetheart.
And I think I just like watching him play. And no matter what team he's on, he's the kind of player where you follow the player rather than following the team. Where,
of course,
whatever team Metz is on, I'm going to tune in. I'm going to watch. I'm going to support. I hope that he does well. And hopefully he does, no matter what that ends up being. I think a lot of these players, there's always the possibility that they call it quits too soon. And there's always that worry. It's all about how the person feels. And no matter what these people's decisions are, everybody has to respect it is their decision at the end of the day. You can always say, you know what, I would love to have seen you continue playing, say to Remkoe or whatever. However, it's their decision. You cannot vilify them for choosing their own life.
There's also a certain hypocrisy with what I said as well. In the day before in NA, I was rooting for Rogue because Konovi was the person that I looked up to. So as with any sport, there is a level of hypocrisy of what I'm saying too. So yeah, I completely get people who want them to do well because they're the old guard and want them to get the old guard and love that side of the storyline. I do completely understand.
And
buy
Rogue
into that
ended up
myself to an
staying up.
extent. They did.
Well done, Rogue.
But-
Going 4-3 and
yeah.
4-2. Fair play.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
them.
They absolutely dominated it. Unlike, sadly, who we mentioned earlier, poor old Stromboli, who we brought up in our last
Fuck
podcast. We were going
Stromboli.
big
I don't give a
for.
shit about them. I don't
But
care
Andy,
about that.
man, Andy.
That roly-poly fucking pizza. I don't care. Karma, unfortunately, ended up losing. They got to a game 7 overtime to decide it all in the losers finals, like we said earlier, and it ended up losing to E United. And I can't
There
even be
is-
happy that I was definitely correct.
Well, that's the thing, because there is a silver lining here, Stumpy, and that is that you have re-earned your Predicty Godlin Discord name. You got it at first when you predicted that Singularity would beat SRG by 5-1, get 5 games in a row. Then why did you lose it? I've forgotten.
I lost
What
it because then I
stupid
said
thing
that
did you say?
Cloud9 would get perfect sweeps up until the final, then they would get perfect swept, which I feel is a harsh one to lose it on.
But now you've got it back by saying that Charlotte Phoenix would get Game 7 OT'd in the decider and not go up, which is... Are you proud of yourself?
I've just said that I'm not.
Say it again, mate. Makes me happy to hear you say it.
I am not happy that I'm right for once. It's a massive shame because I saw that then on Twitter that Karma then tweeted saying that she feels like she let everybody down. And there's lots of replies saying otherwise, and I replied saying otherwise, and we can say it till the cows come home, but there's no reason why she should feel like she's let anybody down. Everyone's very supportive. The entire team this goes to as well, not just Karma. We just know Karma the most. I feel bad for them. I feel sad for them. However, I hope that they realise that there is that possibility. They're 1 goal off, and that isn't
Exactly.
something to worry about. You're 1 goal off against a team that have had to get in a world championship winning manager to help out with to beat you by 1 goal. Like,
Exactly.
keep it coming. I did see as well, fuck it, I'll call some drama. I did see that Base tweeted
Base. was wondering if you were gonna bring that
saying, now let me find the exact wording, because he was saying that he tweeted just after they lost, I believe, I'm not sure the exact timing, but they said, he said, pumping all that money into a team that can't make it out of RLRS, and then a money flying emoji, which is one of my favourite emojis. Great emoji. Firstly, you manage flight. Come on. Come on, no one's impressed. And then Mist, I believe it's like Mist, like like ex-Ghost Mist
Yeah.
or whatever. He replied with a really good tweet saying, maybe try pumping more of your time to help your team get an RLCS win. Which I liked. I love that drama. That got 500 likes and Base's original got
Jesus,
128.
did it pop off that much? I saw it when it was quite new. I didn't realise it had popped off. Oh my god.
It went big. But yeah, so obviously he then said that his original tweet was just saying, the point still stands. You pay 15k per month for an RLRS team. That's pretty dumb to me, and that's my opinion. Yeah, I kind of get where he's going with it. It's a lot of money. It's their decision, obviously, and they got very close to it. I don't think that's something to mock. What is to mock, though, is the Rapid.
It's... What?
It just makes me happy, just remembering that he fucking lost. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
It was... Well, I was going to say that it was really nice having somebody week after week, at least in NA, to root against. Because in EU, I sort of liked every team.
Yeah.
There was someone from each and every group of 3 players that I enjoyed doing well. But in this promotion series, there was somebody who maybe didn't cover themselves in glory.
God, you're alluding to something that I have no idea about.
I'm highlighting it right now.
Oh, very good. I thought that was a really good throw.
Cheers,
Shit.
man.
Sorry. Cole!
Do you want me to... I would offer saying it again, but I know you'll say no. So just
Absolutely
get
not.
on with it.
Absolutely not. Cole, we are moving on to Player of the Week. Sound the drama alarm.
Awoo!
Can I have the gur as well? I like the gur.
You just said it twice.
Ah,
Do you remember when kids TV presenters used to always do that? That at the end of their call, if someone's called in to sort of answer a quiz, and the presenter would be like, sadly you haven't won the Digimon packet today. But is there anything you want to say before you go? And we could be like, I'd just like to say hello to. Can I say hello to my friend Tommy? And the presenters would always say, "You just did. Thanks for calling."
Oh, God.
Every time they'd do that, they'd
I
always
remember
say,
that.
"You just did."
You've annoyed me by making me remember that
I'm
happened.
so happy you've remembered that.
God. We are going to be talking about Tox. Oh, baby, this was juicy. So, bit of context for who didn't see it, because I've never heard of this child. He plays for Stonkers, who are ex-RCD Espanyol. And he tweeted mid-series versus Endpoint in the losers finals, which usually we're all about. We love that. We've said it with Rettles and stuff. It's quite fun. However, he did a truly pathetic take, and he tweeted after they lost, saying, quote, "most undeserved loss ever."
What a man.
Which is very funny that you'd even consider tweeting that. Later, he then deleted that tweet. Fair enough, realised it was an error. Not too worried about that, to be honest. Like, mid-series thing, fine. Go ahead, I don't really give a shit. Loads of people replied with question marks. Turbo replied with yikes. Just yikes. And then the same night, he was seen to have said on Discord, this is from @DramaRLErt, "CBA, I clapped them all. Literally played like a world champ. I don't even care."
I love him.
Well, Turbo, again, had the best response. He said, "As a 4-time world champion, Forbes under 30, DreamHack champion, a Gnarly 2 champion, BTS champion. Hopefully I didn't forget something. I can confirm this isn't it, Chief." And everybody was just like, shit, yeah, no, fair play. He then also called Virtuoso from Endpoint a fake clip and said, we're going to bleep that. And said, "don't message me again."
That's a bit less funny, but all right.
Yeah, it's a bit less funny. He... the message just saying, literally played like a world champ. I love
good.
how, firstly, confident it is, and secondly, how wrong it is.
And also that it throws both his teammates under the bus as well.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's their fault. I couldn't have done any more.
I literally played like I don't know what I could have done. I then looked back at the game, see if I could clip something funny. And there was, in one match, about 4 or 5 moments where he just scuffed a shot, where he didn't hit it particularly cleanly, where he cut off a teammate, where he's trying to do everything on the team and just fucked everyone over. Where you look at his perspective and he was truly being a pain in the ass.
Oh, what a legend, though. I love it so much. To be fair to him, where's he from? Where's Tox from? Because I can do the accent. I'm going to find out right now. Is it Spanish?
I believe
For
he
everyone
is
being
Espanol.
upset about my behavior, I'm very sorry that I tweeted mid-series. That I
Sorry,
earlier that
but
it was
sorry,
my dream to make
sorry.
RLCS and compete with the best. The game versus Solari killed me because I felt like we should have taken the series. I'll try to better myself and control my emotions. GG's to all the teams we played.
I'm so sorry to every single Spanish listener. Normally I do the accents because I normally nail them at the start of the episode.
What did the Irish virtuoso say in response?
"Hello, dear man, I didn't mean to shit on your editing. I can understand why you're angry, but that was completely out of proportion. If you didn't tweet me, Tin, I wouldn't have tweeted about your behaviour and still be friends or Tor."
And then Tox said,
Go on.
"Message me on Discord." Right, in all seriousness, genuinely,
Yeah.
I am a fan of Tox. He took it too far, calling Virtual, because if he'd gone up, right, what's your opinions on Solary?
I don't give a shit about them, obviously.
Exactly. Imagine if Espanyol had come
Espanyol.
up. You'd be rooting for them to lose. If Tox scores an own goal, you'll be straight to Twitter going,
Oh,
"What's he said
100%,
about this?" He would have brought so much to the RLCS. And I'm not saying that Solary won't. Maybe they will. Maybe they come in and they cause all sorts of splashes and they're really nice or massive dicks or really aggressive or whatever. But I know for a fact that Espanyol would have been excellent. And I think that you need bad guys.
We definitely have different definitions of the word fan.
I'm a fan of anything that makes the RLCS more entertaining.
So when you say
Tells
you're a
the story.
fan, you're not a fan of him. You're a fan of what he would bring to the RLCS.
I'd want it in the same way that it was nice to root against Flight. It would have been nice to have rooted against
So
RCD Espanyol.
okay. So you would have been. So yeah, you're not a fan of him. You're not a fan of the team. You're a fan of the drama that they would have
Absolutely.
brought with them.
Hopefully for one season and then down again.
And then
they
back
bring
down
it
to
up
his
again.
funniest. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just like seeing the comeuppance. I like to witness the comeuppance.
I did see as well that somebody, I think it was Virtuoso. Let me just find it real quick. All right, yeah, Virtuoso, quote retweeted Tox's tweet saying most undeserved loss ever and said, fucking deserved, get the fuck out tweeting mid-series. Which I think is just great. I love that anger. I think that's quite fun. And
Put him to the curb.
I saw somebody else, I can't remember who this was, who found Tox's tweet saying, yes, boys, made RLRS, like the first season. Query tweeted it and said, oh, shit, congrats, man. Like, after they lost and stayed in the RLRS, which I always appreciate and love. I think that's so funny.
I did see that was Tox's pinned tweet. I wonder if it still is. Him saying, we've made RLRS, so happy. Yeah, he's not following me. What a bastard.
Is he
Yeah,
not?
his top pinned tweet is RLRS boys from February 9th. He was so proud.
It's so funny.
Mate, next season, they'd be a great addition to the RLCS.
Thing is, as the team
Style.
and the mates, would you imagine that team atmosphere now?
Oh, yeah, screw
he's
that.
gone.
Screw playing with
Surely
him.
he's gone.
Depends how good he actually is. Like you said, you noticed some mistakes, but they'll know if he is irreplaceable.
Yeah, I very much looked under a microscope at every little thing that went wrong, and everybody was making mistakes. Ultimately, that's why they lost.
Exactly. So it's difficult to say, but I mean, to be that toxic, you have to be the best player. If he isn't, if he's the second best, then he's gone. I agree.
Yeah.
Because that's the sort. He's a luxury player. If he's that toxic and can tilt you out that much, but it's like what Astral was when he first came to Dignitas. He was a luxury player, and thankfully, Panda and Yukio and Verge have managed to sort of polish that turd into the beautiful shiny
Kind
diamond
of.
we see today.
Have
Well,
you seen the latest video?
He was having a bit of a
comms
strop.
video.
Yeah, it wasn't his best, performance.
It was
wasn't any of their
bad.
best performances.
No, it was bad. It wasn't just not his best. It was bad.
Fair. But that's what I'm talking about, though. When I say you can put up with that for a series every now and then, because Astral is so good.
Yeah.
So if
I mean,
Tox is
if anybody,
so good, then yeah.
If anybody hasn't, tell you what, if he's as good as Astral, I forgive him. Fair play. If anybody's not seen that video, I believe it's one on Yukio's channel, where they had the comms when they were against Vitality. I think it was the final one where they were against Vitality to win regionals, and Astral was a real tilty boy, and
Well, I'll tell you
Yukio
what, mate.
then lashed back out and then was like, no, don't flame me. Like, look, we're in this together. I just want to win. And Verge did an incredibly good job, realistically just saying. He said one of my favourite things that I've heard, like in a comms video, where he had to do his best to try and calm down the players on the team, while you've also got Panda there, obviously trying to like be the captain, try and get them focused in the game. Verge said, shut the fuck up and focus up. We've got a game to play.
Oh,
Which is
what a man.
fantastic. Yeah.
I'll
So
tell you
fair
what,
play
mate.
to Verge in that.
To segue us into our next section, I can play a little bit of that, and people can decide for themselves.
None of that for
So let's
anybody.
focus and
Guys,
let's win.
Let's keep playing.
Let's focus and win. Don't fucking flame.
Did I flame?
Hey,
Or
hey,
sigh,
hey,
anything,
hey,
just
hey,
let's
both of
win.
You guys, shut the
That's
fuck
all I'm
up
saying.
and focus up. We've got a game to play.
Guys, you
We're in
gotta
the
cool
middle-
down now.
We're in the middle of a series.
Both gotta calm down. We got this. Play as a team. Still trust each other.
I want to see
Don't-
trust in each other. I don't want to see anything
Don't
else.
lose trust over this argument we had here. We can talk about it after.
Exactly, that's
But
what I'm
we
saying.
can-
Focus
no,
and
relax,
win.
Alright.
Yukio.
We're fine. We're fine.
Relax. Relax. We have 5 seconds. Let's just all fucking focus. And let's win this shit, okay?
Don't
Everyone in?
let this be the reason we lose. Let's play our game. If we lose, let it be because
Let's
they
go, boys.
outplayed us, not because we outplayed ourselves.
Yeah, we don't have to pause, do we?
No,
We're
we
back
don't, but it's
now.
useful because I can see the pause.
Yeah,
It's actually useful.
we're back now.
Cool.
We're back.
Okay, it's on you, mate. It's on
Everyone.
you to segue us into our next section.
Yeah, it's a nice smooth segue. So what? Just to confirm, you've played the clip.
Yes.
Cool. So I'll just do a nice smooth segue.
Yes, exactly. Really, because obviously.
Okay, so Sunless had an event.
Carry on.
Oh, it's so much more fun for this to be shit. So,
So that's why you're the host.
absolutely, because I can cause anarchy. I'm top.
Are you
Sunless
talented
did
enough?
an event called the world's longest. Oh no, hang on. Let me find the actual exact title. Hang on, I'll start that again. I'll actually start that again. Cut this out. Cut this out. Sunless did an event called the longest game in Rocket League history with an initial prize pool of $1,000. It then went up to 1,200 as Sunless just put in another $200, which is kind of cool. And it was a show match between two teams. The first one consisting of, where are we? It was Violent Panda, it was Virtuoso, and why does it not say this on the fucking thing? Oh, there, I have to hover over. Violent Panda, Shock, and Virtuoso on blue team versus Lethemir, Speed, and Magic Bear on the orange team. They were going to be playing this game until the server goes down. Sunless did a few tests, and his average time was around 1.5 to like 3 hours. So he was saying to pros, look, it could take 1.5 hours, could take 3 hours. Just a heads up, it'll be a decent little investment of time. I ended up watching it at the start because I thought that was pretty chill. Really fun idea. I love weird little games like that. And the first thing that we should say is that it ended up getting donations and hit $5,000 for the max prize pool that Psyonix would allow for a third-party tournament.
I think that just shows straight off the bat that $5,000 is way too low. If one content creator can hit that with their first sort of event like this, then 5K is essentially, even though it sounds like I'm talking down a large amount of money, it's pretty much nothing when it's split between 3 pros over the course of a tournament. Sorry, that's
6 pros
for the winners. Exactly, that's for the top 2. They could be 3rd place, 4th place as well. So hopefully this will encourage them to budge that up. Imagine if John Sandman did a tournament, he'd hit that like that, you know?
Yeah, obviously huge amount of money that was raised by a community. Like, oh my god.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Secondly, to actually raise that much, looking at that amount of money in a vacuum is absolutely giant. And the best thing of all is, well, after they'd hit the 5K, people kept on donating, so it went towards the big bad pandemic going on. And that raised an extra, was it $4,000?
No, $7,000.
It was an extra $7,000.
And yes, in the end, it was like, in total, so the $5,000 prize pool for the pros, plus $7,320 going towards the pandemic charity.
Madness. I think
Which
the biggest,
is
one of the
huge.
biggest shout-outs, by the way, has to go to Lukash, tracking the entire thing on Liquipedia. If you go to the Liquipedia page, just search for the longest game in Rocket League history, Liquipedia, you'll see it. And there is... It's all tracked. So 71st minute, Jacob subbed in for Virtuoso. 92nd minute, Virtuoso returned. He was doing that, as far as I'm aware, solo for 11 hours.
And then it goes to
mad.
608th minute, Forky subbed in for Com. 614th minute, Creams and Axeltos join. It's also got Mystery Person.
Yeah, I
Because
don't know who that is. I missed that bit.
Mystery Person was the details that are being found out by chat. And so somebody joined in from chat. Pros told them off, and then they left within a minute.
good. I'm glad they
568th minute, 569th minute, they left. They ended up, going for, the match was 11 hours long, which was nearly about 4 times as long as they anticipated that it would last for. And it wasn't just Sunless casting over the top of it. He was also joined by his editor and right-hand man, Paco, who's a lovely, lovely fella. And various people were popping in, like Shogun and Jorby at the start. They did a guest cast, like really, really high energy. And something else that was very cool is that all the pros, or a load of the pros, were also streaming alongside this. So sitting in their own comms channels, or they muted, or they left, or whatever. And they also streamed alongside it, so you could go into any chat and just see what was going on with their individual perspective.
One of which was Violent Panda, who I didn't know this was going on. I jumped into the longest game, of course, but I didn't see any of the individual streams. So it turns out that Panda was streaming for 3 hours before this even started, thinking it'd be another 3 max. So 6 hours, it's doable. But a certain Stumpy Goblin happened to stumble upon him when he was a few drinks deep, right?
Yes. So, my best mate, 2-time world champion Violent Panda, he thought it'd be a good idea to, like I said, do a little stream and then go into this, finish up after 6 hours or so. 6 hours max. It could have been 4.5 hours in the end. And he was streaming for, I think, about 5 hours at this point, because it was around midnight where I then tuned into his stream. And I was just chatting in there, and he was drunk. Quite frankly, he was already a bit pissed, because he hadn't eaten that day, he said, because he was waiting to have dinner. And he had 6 beers from Lidl, right? And I thought he'd be able to afford nice beers as well, as opposed to like cheap own brand ones. But he went and got the cheap ones that apparently his dad bought, so even he didn't buy them. So I thought that was a bit pathetic. So then he said, in quite a desperate voice, "Stumpy, please join me." I was like, okay, fine. So my computer was completely turned off. I was in the living room. Girlfriend went to bed. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go on my phone on Discord. And we had just a really nice chat for about 2 hours, just about stuff. Like, things... We spoke, like, maybe about 10 minutes about the game in total, but we spoke about, like, where he used to go to school. Apparently he was suspended from school at points. His history, like, in games.
Did he say why?
Because he was addicted to gaming, and so his grades slipped.
Is that before he made it?
Before he made it, yeah. Before he made it in Rocket League and
Wow.
everything. He was playing, like, League of Legends, apparently. And was just like, well, yeah, he got kicked out of a private school because he said it was like for really clever people and he wasn't one of the really clever people. And then he went to university and dropped out to do Rocket League, but he was doing electrical engineering.
You don't really think about these pros being intelligent, apart from like Tylacto, who's also a genius.
So
and
that's literally
some of them
what I
are
said.
way too smart.
And
Yeah.
everybody told me off. I said, I wasn't aware that you were actually clever. And he
Who told
was
you
like, wait, Panda. He was
His
like, what do you mean? And his chat were also like, what? I was like, yeah, like, no offense, Panda, but you're fucking stupid. And he
Agreed.
was like, you know what?
Dumb accent.
I don't think I am. And we had a little chat about that. But no, it was lovely. Chat, were enjoying it. I read him a bedtime story at one point.
Did you?
Yeah, we had a nice little
That
bedtime
sounds
story.
so sweet, man.
It was very nice. And then I got a DM from Paco to join the casters in their server, just to chat on the main stream. Which, by the way, got like 5,000-6,000 viewers, which was awesome.
So good.
Yeah, had hopped in there, had a chat with them. So my like 20-minute stint being on the main stream got me on the Wikipedia page in the more commentators section, sandwiched in between Gibbs and John Sandman. That's where your
That
boy
is
belongs.
a hell of a sandwich. Who was on there when you went on? So Paco, Sunless presumably.
Yeah, Panda came in. He said to me, I don't want to talk. I just want to listen. I was like, okay. So we dragged him in as well, and Rizzo.
Oh, cool.
So I had a nice chat to them. And yeah, Panda just came and had a little listen in. Mel was in Panda's chat, telling me off because I kept telling Panda to drink. And she was telling him to have water. And I was like, nah, don't listen to her. Fuck that. Come on. She was getting annoyed at me.
Funny.
It was lovely. It was really, really nice. So I think that kind of event was really good. People were disappointed with the end of it because it didn't technically end how people wanted it to with the server crashing. Because... I thought it would end at around the 3.5 hour mark because after 28 minutes, the replays stopped working. Like, replays just stopped existing. Which is a very low amount of time for them to break in a game.
And apparently, according to Sunless, his, what are they called? His tests. It's about an hour normally before the server would just boot you out and panic and not understand what was going on anymore. But from what I've seen on Twitter, it had one of the Psyonix crew, maybe Devin, saying that they can guarantee that the players will stop playing before the server dies.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they had someone, I don't know how servers work, obviously, but I wonder if they had someone keeping a close eye on that server, just sort of like giving it a little glass of water when it needed. And
they did say, because Devin was in chat and he joined in as well to chat with Sunless during the stream too, and there was a rumor going around that they accidentally had joined one of the RLCS servers that had just been put into the main pool. Just like because obviously they don't need them anymore, so they just like fuck it, we'll just put them out so people can use them, use that server space. That was never substantiated though. And then Devin was also just saying, we will beat you. So they might have just been looking at that server and just genuinely allocating it more resources so it wouldn't crash.
So that's why my games went down when I was playing myself, because they were giving all that server power to the other server. It all makes sense now.
The timer broke at 80 minutes and it reset to 0. So then you had to have a fake one put on top, which Sunless did actually, to be fair, plan for. So he's had to activate the scene and just put it on. It was a very, very fun event. Chat was really getting involved. And all the donations were flying in. It was a lovely, lovely, cool thing that was going on. So, well done, Sunless. Big props to him. Hopefully, there's going to be more weird little events like that come out. We are going to be doing an event ourselves called TRRLCS, brackets, date currently pending. Cole, do you want to explain what TRRLCS is?
Yeah, well, we're pretty sure it's locked in for Saturday the 9th, barring no other thing. It was going to be the 2nd originally. And then Lawler announced his thing, which I'm sure we'll talk about in future episodes. But most likely the 9th. So if you want to book any Saturday off, make it that one so far. TRLCS stands for Team Rocket's Rocket League casted sub-games. It's basically our own version, our own take on the RLCS. And everybody who is a sub on our Twitch channel enters a 3v3 tournament as an individual, okay? And we take your MMR, say it's 1800, say you're a good player, right? And what we do is we match you with 2 other players based on their MMRs that should hopefully give every team that enters an equal chance of winning. So if you're 1800, we'll pair you with somebody who is 900, for example, and somebody else is in the middle at 1450. You guys will be a team, and your weighted average MMR will be, let's say, 1460. Meanwhile, we've got 3 players playing together who are 1400, 1500, and 1450, making their average around 1460. So everybody enters as an individual. We try and make teams as fair as possible, and then we have a big old tournament starting with best of ones because there's so many teams that enter, and eventually going to a best of 3 semi-finals and finals. The prize pool, Stumpy and I will chuck in. How much should we chuck in to get things started?
I think I've said $80, or £80. I can't. Probably £80. £80 to begin with. So like 40 quid. No, I guess it's like 60-40 split. I don't know. An amount of money. You're making your sub back and then some.
Yeah, we'll chuck in 40 quid each to get things started. But traditionally, with community prize pool funding, we have hit £1,000 in a few of these. This will be the 10th time we've done this. And I think 3 or 4 have hit £1,000 plus. So there's hundreds of pounds going to each player who wins this thing. And it's all for the cost of a Subpub HD subscription. It's really good fun.
And if you've got Prime, it's free.
And it's always been such a huge community event. And if you have Prime, it's free as well. Precisely. So we highly recommend everybody who wants to get involved in that getting involved in that.
We've always championed tournaments with going for something new and something different. Like, I'm bored of just seeing Champions Field and Manfield and Beckwith Park. What about all the maps? You always say that there should be a non-standard tournament. I can't believe you're not doing it this time. Oh, I'm so upset. Can you interrupt me and just say why I'm wrong?
Well, it's funny you should say all that, Stumpy Goblin, because this time we are going to practice what we preach. And in some capacity, we're not exactly sure how we're going to do it just yet, but in some way, there will be non-standard maps. So Double Goal might make an appearance in one of the game rounds, for example. Or maybe we'll go full crazy and chuck in Octagon again. But there will be not regular maps during this event. Because, as you're right, we've always said, it might not work. Might not work at all. Might be a massive piece of shit, and it's a failed experiment. But do you know the best thing about a failed experiment?
Go on, mate.
That you've proven the thing wrong.
Yep.
That is a successful
That's
experiment.
That's what science is,
in my
trying
eyes.
to prove yourself wrong. Bear in mind. Your
Exactly.
hypothesis is always saying nothing will happen, basically.
And then you find out if you're right or not.
And you're like, oh shit, cool, it does. Easy science. Bish bash bish. So
that's it. Yeah. Enter.
Yeah. Everybody keep an eye on our Twitter and stuff, and our Discord as well. Because then you'll be able to see when you can enter it. It's all Twitch subs.
And Patreon.
And Patreon. Very, very true. Yeah. We will be finishing this episode off by giving you general pandemic updates. Cole, can you have the jingle?
Bum, bum, bum. It's the general pandemic updates.
We have said at the start of the episode that there's a lot of people that are posting things, which is very fair. Just like saying, hey, look, I'm learning how to do this, I'm learning how to bake. Oh, look, me and my girlfriend have been making cookies every day. We've been feeding the animals in the garden. Lovely, absolutely lovely stuff. It's nice to sort of hang out with people that you live with. And I think it's can be a little bit disingenuous if that's all you're seeing. So we're here to say it's not all roses. And it is really hard. Recently, lockdown has started to get to both of us where I live in a flat. I think I said it last episode. I live in a flat, so I don't have a garden. I've got no green space that I can just nip out to on my own and like relax out in the day. And in the UK, we're currently on a 1 hour per day. You're allowed to go out for a walk, and you have to stay 2 meters away from everybody else. So that's fine. So me and my girlfriend go out for walks after she finishes work. She's working from home at the moment. However, the last few days, it's been hard. It's been tough because we've been trying to go live as much as possible because ultimately they're able to watch Twitch streams while they're working. A lot of people said podcasts have helped them out as well, and they've been at work normally. So we want to get out as much content as we can at the moment, so people have something to do, something to keep them entertained. Because that's basically our job in all this. We're the Marilyn Monroe of the pandemic, where we're keeping the soldiers entertained. And I like to think we're doing it, but we have had off days. We've had 0 days.
Yeah, so the last couple of days, we're recording this on Wednesday. I'll probably go out for patrons on Wednesday. And certainly since the start of this week, for I think myself and Stumpy, it has hit us a little bit that every day starts to feel the same. Like suddenly it's Monday and we need to do a schedule. And yesterday we streamed. We discussed doing the podcast, and we were both like, do you know what? We're not in the right place. The podcast will be shit. It'll be both of us being moody at ourselves, at each other. Not worth it. And I proposed to Stumpy. He said, "No, I hate you." No, I proposed to Stumpy that we do just take the day completely off. Literally say on Twitter, "Look, guys, we are not feeling it today. Let's not." And then you said something. Let's just do a really chill stream. And we went back on an idea which I'd put forward a few days ago, where we just did a jigsaw puzzle for 3 hours. There's this game on Steam called Puzzle with Your Friends, I think it's called. And it literally is. I see my cursor and Stumpy. Stumpy sees both cursors. And you pick up bits of the jigsaw puzzle and you move them around the board. We're just chatting shit, occasionally looking at chat.
Yeah. It became a 3-hour podcast, basically.
It was really lovely.
Talking about the pieces, like, oh, you got any edge pieces? Oh, yeah, I got one here. I'll quiz, whack it on the side.
edging.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah. And that's all we needed yesterday. So we just wanted
a
to...
genuinely delightful stream. It's one of the most enjoyable streams we've done for like a while, because it was not that other streams are bad, but just because it was so different and just so chill, and it was just like, oh, I'm just sort of sitting here playing a puzzle, and people really enjoy it. They're like, yeah, this is really fucking chill. Like, I'm just sitting here. I'm meant to go for like, I'm meant to be like in a meeting right now, but I've muted them and I'm just watching you do a puzzle instead. Great.
Even though it doesn't work for Twitch at all. Like, there's no real way that the Twitch chat can get involved. We weren't even looking at them that much. You'd think, perfect opportunity to read Twitch chat. We weren't. They were chatting amongst themselves. They were having a good time. So yeah, I think we just want to both get across that the people that you watch and observe on Twitter or TV or anywhere right now, they're all struggling in the same way that you are. And if you're not, fantastic. Don't feel that you have to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't feel guilty. Genuinely don't feel guilty if you're enjoying yourself and you are getting into shape and all that. But equally, if you're there and you haven't brushed your hair and you haven't put clothes on in 4 days, a lot of people are the same. Don't feel for a second that you are alone in that.
Exactly. And we're all in this together. Everyone's going to get out. Everyone's going to be good. We're going to be able to enjoy the year eventually. It's just right now about staying safe, staying positive as best you can. Do a little jigsaw puzzle. You know?
Puzzles with your friends. Really recommend it.
And yeah, we hope
quiz,
that
I think it was.
we hope that you're all staying safe as well, because we are hopeful that everybody gets out of this as unscathed as we possibly can. So lots and lots of love to everybody, every single person in your families as well.
And finally, just quickly, if you feel like there is nowhere to talk, we can genuinely recommend our Discord. Discord.gg/subpub in HD. It's not just a Rocket League only Discord. We have a health and fitness channel for people who can give you advice on how to work out. Maybe you don't have much space. Maybe you don't have proper weights. Home workouts, precisely. There's also a life improvement channel, where it's the closest thing we have in our community to a safe space. You know, obviously we put on a lot of bravado, we take the piss out of people, but if somebody comes in there, even someone that we normally take the mick out of and will take the mick out of us, it's a serious channel.
It's sacred.
We recommend that. It is sacred.
Yeah.
You're right, it is.
So if you need anywhere to talk, we're also on Twitch. Just come and say hi. People at the moment we're lucky. Yeah, we're lucky in the sense that our jobs is talking. That's what we do. Like, we talk all day, and it's nice that we are able to do that. If you're not getting a huge amount of the sort of social interaction because maybe you live alone, or you've had to isolate from friends and family because they've got symptoms or anything, then talk on our Twitch, talk on Twitter. Let us know how you're doing, because we are, like I said, going to get through it together. Everyone's going to be good. We'll all be fine at the end of the day. And if we're not fine, then there's places to go to talk about that. And also, if there is, I went for a walk. I think about 3 or 4 days ago, and there's a church, like sort of a modern, like community centre, like church type thing, like an old building, just down the road. And there was a massive queuing up to it, and I was like, "What's going on here?" So we crossed the road to get sort of away from people, and I looked, and they had an entire food bank set up. So the homeless people, people who are on low income, who can't afford to feed their families, who can't afford to eat themselves, they were queuing up, and people were saying, "Okay, do you have any dietary requirements?" And they're like, "No, I'm fine." I said, "Cool, just take a step back." And they went, put the food on the table. They then stepped back. People then grabbed the food, and they were like, "Thank you." And it was like just bags of food being handed out to people.
Lovely.
If there's anything like that in your local areas, and you are able to, first, take care of yourself. Secondly, if you are able to, keep an eye out and see if you can contribute in any way that you can. But like I said, you are the number one priority. You stay safe first and help others out second. It's like those masks on airplanes. Don't put it on kids first. Fucking hell. Get your own face covered, pal. And then work on the kid.
If they're still alive. If not, go on.
Yeah,
cheap
if
alike,
not,
you know?
free mask.
Hey!
You're
I was going to
quizzing.
say that Linnea's mum recently sent us some food, which, frankly, we don't need. I feel like my family don't seem to appreciate the fact that I'm doing all right financially. They're always like, "Oh, do you want some money?" So, no, honestly, I swear, believe it or not, I do get paid for what I do. So that food, when it arrives, we're going to donate anything we don't need to a food bank. Because otherwise it would just be sitting in our cupboards, which is pointless.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
now. So yeah, we're able to do that little bit for people, which is good.
Yeah. So everybody if you can, do your bit in your local area. There's lots of these like national cries going out, or even international cries going out. And I think personally, focus on your local area. If everybody does that, then we get through it quicker. As opposed to focusing on other places. But ultimately, it's your money. Do what the fuck you want. You know, do your thing. Thank you, team. I appreciate that a hell of a lot. Thanks for listening. I hope you had a lovely little listen along. And if you need anywhere to talk, like we said, Discord, Twitch, Twitter, get chatting, because chatting is good right now. Otherwise, this has been episode 39 of the subpar Poddy C, and we will see you in episode 40. Bloody hell.
40. I know,
Jeez.
man.
Crazy. All right,
See
in a bit,
ya.
team.